Have you ever stopped to think if there might be something greater reserved for you? What if I told you that being chosen goes far beyond birth dates, zodiac signs, or mystical characteristics? That perhaps the real meaning is deeply rooted in how we perceive life, the choices we make, and the way we find meaning in our existence. In this video, we'll explore what it truly means to be chosen. We'll look at this concept through the perspectives of philosophers, thinkers, and spiritual masters who throughout history have sought to understand the purpose and essence of living with a mission. Join me on this journey to discover what it means to feel called, to have a mission, and above all, how each of us can find purpose and meaning in what we do and who we are. Purpose. That word has weight, doesn't it? In ancient philosophies like that of Aristotle, purpose, or telos, is the ultimate end of each being, what we all, in some way, seek to fulfill. But does everyone have a purpose? And how can you know if you are one of the chosen for a special mission? In psychology, Carl Jung offers an interesting perspective with the concept of individuation. He believed that our true selves are hidden, waiting to be discovered, and that this discovery, or calling, sets us on a path of self-discovery, where each step reveals more of who we truly are. Jung reminds us that this path is not for a privileged few, but a journey anyone can start. Now, being chosen doesn't imply superiority, but rather responsibility. Those who feel this calling often realize that their purpose is connected to something larger, something that benefits the collective. The question you must ask yourself is, do you feel a calling that goes beyond personal interests? A calling that seems to say there's work to be done, not just for you, but for the good of all. Feeling called to something greater is inspiring, but also brings unique challenges. For many who find themselves on this journey, obstacles can be both internal and external. It's not uncommon for these people to face deep conflicts and often opposition from those who don't understand what they're pursuing or why they make certain choices. Think of Socrates, the philosopher who constantly challenged social norms and questioned everything around him. He paid a high price for it, but his search for truth influenced generations. Or Buddha, who left a life of luxury to seek spiritual answers. The paths of both show that the journey of the chosen is often lonely and filled with trials. There's also the concept of the dark night of the soul, a profound experience traced back to the mystic Saint John of the Cross. This experience refers to that moment when everything seems lost, when we are forced to confront our deepest shadows and fears. It's a phase that many undergo when they are on the verge of awakening to a new consciousness. Despite its pain, it's transformative. Being chosen means resilience and the willingness to face these tests. Ask yourself, how many times have you had to fight something within or outside of yourself to remain true to who you really are? And how did you handle those moments of doubt and loneliness? Remember, the journey of the chosen is above all a testament of courage and self-knowledge. When the world seems to fall apart, when we face crises, whether wars, pandemics, or natural disasters, it's common for many to feel the need to retreat. But for those who identify with a spiritual calling or a mission, these moments of crisis awaken something even deeper. It's as if these individuals feel an expanded sense of responsibility, as if they're needed now more than ever. Psychologist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl offers a valuable perspective on meaning and purpose in times of suffering. He argued that even in the most extreme situations, finding purpose can save us. And for the chosen, collective crises can be a sign, an urgent call to help in the healing and hope of others. Those who respond to this call often become anchors of strength and wisdom for those around them. They offer guidance and comfort, not because they are perfect, but because they recognize that in these moments, we all need a helping hand to weather the storm. Consider how you feel during crises. Do you feel a desire to help, to bring peace, or even to light the way for others? This responsibility to be a light in times of darkness is one of the most intense and challenging aspects of a chosen one's mission. How do you respond to the call to be a source of hope when the world around you seems to be in chaos? There's a mystery in our connection to the past. Many people who feel called to a mission or a deep purpose also feel an inexplicable attraction to ancient traditions, to ancestral wisdom that dates back ages. This connection with the past, with what many call ancient wisdom, is central to many who see themselves as chosen. Scholar Mircea Eliade discusses the importance of myths and rituals in shaping human meaning. He suggests that these ancient myths, stories that have crossed millennia, are not mere fables, but keys to understanding our essence, our place in the universe. The chosen are often those who feel called to rescue and preserve this wisdom, as if time itself asks them to be guardians of traditions and knowledge that modern society often forgets. This quest for ancestral knowledge is not an escape from modernity, but an effort to balance present achievements with past lessons. Ask yourself, do you feel an inexplicable connection to practices, stories, or teachings from ancient cultures? Perhaps a desire to learn more about rituals, indigenous spiritual practices, or Eastern philosophies. The mission to rescue and share this knowledge is more than a personal growth journey. It's a contribution to the collective awakening of a society that, in many ways, has lost its connection to what is essential and spiritual. Being chosen may then mean becoming a channel for this ancient wisdom to once again find its place in the world. For anyone seeking to understand their purpose or mission, self-knowledge is the starting point. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, "Know thyself." This call is an internal journey to discover who we are in essence, our strengths, vulnerabilities, and what drives us. It's in the deep dive within ourselves that many find the answers they so seek. This inner exploration is neither simple nor always comfortable. It may mean confronting parts of ourselves we avoid, acknowledging our fears, and accepting our limitations. But it's also a path of discovery about gifts and potentials we may never have imagined. For many, practices like meditation, self-analysis, and solitude are powerful tools that help open doors to a greater understanding of who we truly are and what we're here to do. Imagine taking time to look within, beyond surface layers and external expectations. What would you see? Is there a calling that resonates, a mission waiting to be fulfilled? For those who feel chosen, self-knowledge is more than a wellness practice. It's a responsibility. After all, how can we serve the world? How can we respond to our call if we don't truly know who we are? And this inner search is an ongoing journey, for we are always changing and growing. So, ask yourself, what do you still not know about yourself that could transform your life and the lives of others around you? The concept of free will is one of the pillars of our existence. It's the ability to choose, to decide our path. Even those who feel called to a special mission face this choice. Having a purpose is not an obligation, it's an invitation. And like any invitation, it can be accepted or declined. Existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre argued that we are all responsible for creating meaning in our lives through the choices we make. According to him, we are not just destined to follow a predetermined path. In fact, we are creating that path with every step. For someone who identifies as chosen, this means that the spiritual call does not impose itself. It depends on a conscious response. The beauty of free will lies precisely in turning a spiritual mission into an authentic decision, into something we choose willingly, not out of obligation. Ask yourself, if there is a mission waiting for you, how would you respond to it? Would you choose it with an open heart, even knowing the challenges and sacrifices it may demand? It's in this act of consciously choosing that the true journey of the chosen begins. The spiritual call becomes an expression of the will, an action with purpose and authenticity. After all, free will gives us the power to decide, to walk toward who we truly are, and above all, to live with the freedom to be faithful to what we believe. The hero's journey is a concept that speaks directly to the hearts of all who feel a call to something greater. Popularized by Joseph Campbell, this archetypal path reveals a sequence of stages that all chosen individuals go through. An initial call, challenges, triumphs, and ultimately a transformation that brings them to a new level of consciousness. These mythical stories, which we find in diverse cultures around the world, are more than epic narratives. They are reflections of the human journey. Every challenge, every mentor the hero encounters, every moment of doubt and triumph mirrors the path many of us walk in search of a higher purpose. This journey isn't exclusive to the chosen. It's available to all of us. If you feel that you have a special mission or purpose, perhaps you are on your own hero's journey. The obstacles that arise, the people you meet, the lessons you learn, all of these make up your own personal saga. But just as in the stories, there's a moment when the hero becomes a mentor, a guide, and an inspiration for others. He turns learning into service, helping those who are also starting their journeys. Think of your own story. What lessons have you learned along the way? How can these lessons be passed on? By recognizing the power of the hero's journey in our own lives, we can see that the role of a chosen one is not only personal, but also collective. To be a hero ultimately means supporting others in finding and walking their own path. In many spiritual stories, the chosen experience a profound sense of isolation. It's not uncommon for those who feel a call to find themselves at some point disconnected from others, as if the weight of the mission places them in a space of solitude and incomprehension. This solitude, however, is both a challenge and an opportunity for growth. Philosopher Martin Heidegger describes the feeling of being in the world, an awareness of our own existence in a universe that often doesn't share our values or visions. For those on a spiritual quest, this solitude can be heightened as their experiences and visions don't seem to fit conventional molds. Yet, isolation can serve as a time for reflection and inner strengthening. It's in the silence that many chosen discover the true essence of their purpose, away from distractions and external expectations. But this solitude also reminds us of the importance of finding a spiritual community, of connecting with others who share a similar worldview, who understand what it means to have a calling. If you feel alone on your journey, know that this can be a natural part of the growth process. But also, remember to seek support, to find people who can understand what you feel and help you stay firm in your mission. In the end, we are all interconnected, and finding your tribe can make all the difference in bearing challenges and making your journey lighter and more inspiring. For someone who feels the weight and beauty of a spiritual purpose, cultivating daily practices is essential for strengthening and maintaining clarity throughout the journey. Spiritual practices help us nurture our connection to purpose and develop the skills needed to serve the world with balance and compassion. Meditation is one of the most powerful practices because it teaches us to listen to silence, to find answers that come from a place beyond the rational mind. Connecting with nature is another way of remembering that we are part of something greater, that answers are everywhere, from the simplicity of a tree to the sound of the wind. Some people find support in energy healing practices like Reiki, yoga, or even prayer, regardless of form or origin. These practices not only bring inner peace and harmony, but also help align mind, body, and spirit with a common purpose. And then there is service to the community, perhaps one of the deepest practices. When we serve others, we are also serving our own soul, cultivating humility and understanding that a chosen one's purpose is often fulfilled in small acts of kindness and care. Ask yourself, what practices help you stay connected to your purpose? And how can you integrate them into your routine so that your mission is not lost amidst daily challenges and demands? When we talk about being chosen, it's easy to fall into the trap of the ego, feeling that we're special, different, or even superior. But the true spiritual mission requires exactly the opposite: detachment from the ego. Throughout history, masters like the Indian philosopher Krishnamurti have taught us that true spirituality is not about exalting the self, but about recognizing that we are all deeply interconnected. For those who feel a call, detachment from the ego is essential for service to the world, to be authentic and compassionate. When we let go of the desire for recognition and approval, we're ready to serve with humility. Serving is not about standing out, but about offering support, love, and wisdom wherever they're needed. It's important to remember that detachment from the ego doesn't mean ignoring our qualities and abilities, but rather using them with awareness and responsibility, knowing that they don't define us. The mission of a chosen one is to help uplift collective well-being, not to elevate oneself, but to elevate everyone. So, ask yourself, when you think about your purpose, is your desire to contribute to something greater, or are you stuck in a need for validation? The true spiritual journey is one in which we let go of the self to serve the us. In this act, we find that the greatest purpose of all is love, compassion, and respect for every being with whom we share this life. Today, we've explored together what it means to be a chosen one, not as a privilege, but as a journey of purpose and self-discovery. We've seen that the call to a greater mission is present in different traditions and philosophies, and that, ultimately, each of us can discover and respond to this call in a unique way. Whether you're a guardian of ancient wisdom, a guide in times of crisis, or an anchor of hope and compassion, we all have the ability to live with purpose, authenticity, and love. Remember, the path is not always easy, but it's in the pursuit of knowing oneself, letting go of the ego, and serving the collective that we find our true potential. I invite you to reflect on what resonated most deeply for you in this video. Leave a comment, share your experiences, or your own journey. We are all in this journey together, and your words may inspire and help others find their own way. May we all discover and live our purpose with courage, compassion, and awareness. And may we, together, build a world where each of us, with our gifts and our choices, is part of something much greater.